Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are choosing to take time out of your busy schedule and listen to this live broadcast from the Morgan Podcasting Network. My name is Rod Morgan. I will serve as your host this evening. We will start with what we call Balls and Brew, our sports program, where we discuss sports probably the way that you do when you're sitting around with your friends having a Frew barley pops. That's why we call it Balls and Brew. And there is a big wrestling premium live event this weekend. So the second part of this show will be Yeah, We Know, our wrestling show, hosted by the executive producer of this podcast, the man that makes this live stream available that you can view live on Facebook, you can view live on YouTube, or you can check it out later on our YouTube page, which we hope you are liking and subscribing and checking in on our shorts. We see a lot of you out there watching our shorts, but we'd like you to come check out longer episodes from time to time, right? Jimmy does a good job of time stamping what we are talking about so you can jump in on things that intrigue you. And with that, the executive producer, Jimmy, hello.
You know, the NFL season's starting. I'm a Bears fan. I can't be happier.
Yeah. We'll get to your Bears here in just a little bit. But first, I need to bring in the third member of this podcast, a man who at one time did host a golf podcast on this network. That was short-lived, but now he is stuck around as the glue to this and our wrestling show. He's the old man. Everybody loves him. He's Chris King. Chris, hello.
Man, I forgot about that podcast, Rod. You're talking about flashbacks.
That's right.
Jimmy,
That's right.
you're only happy because you still have hope.
Yes, Chris is a Cowboys fan. We'll
get there. We'll get there.
In the big NFL news as well. Our NFL handicapper is here. The man that makes us all smarter. The man that makes the picks. The man who broke the news of the trade that I promise you we will get to after the cold open question to our group thread today because he lives it. He breathes it. He loves the NFL. That's why he's a great listener on our podcast. We love him. It's Josh Williams. Josh, hello.
What's up, boys? This seems like the NFC West is an afterthought after that trade, but we'll get to the most competitive division in the NFL at some point.
Nice. Look at that tease. Look at that tease. He's come a long way from the anonymous gambler, folks. Look at him. I absolutely love that. But we start the way that we are starting most shows, if I remember, or if there's not breaking news to get to. Even though there is breaking news, I still want to start with this cold open question because I'm proud of it. We are all watching America's team, the Gambler and his Cowboys, on Netflix about the glory days of the mid-90s for the Cowboys. And so my cold open question is this, gentlemen. What relic from the early mid-90s, whatever you want, do you wish you could bring back and resurrect? I couldn't say the word, Jimmy. My goodness.
So, Rod, I want to resurrect something that we still kind of have. So it's going to be a little interesting. I want to resurrect video games. And what I mean by that is when I want to go play a video game, I want to resurrect putting it in the console, hitting power, and starting to play the game. That is what I want to resurrect. I do not like putting it in, waiting for it to boot up. Oh, you got to hit that. Oh, you're not online. You got to get online. Okay, great. Oh, it's got an update, 18 gigabytes. Sorry, it's going to be 3 hours before you can play. That is what I want to resurrect, Rod.
I love that. You are correct there. I don't get to the video game machine as often as I would like these days, but whenever I do, because of that, I have to sit and wait on an update. Now, luckily, I don't play online. I'm not good enough. My ego would just take too much of a hit to go online and just get absolutely dominated in these games. So I just play simulations against the computer that way. But I'm with you. Physical media is dying out, Jimmy. Physical media in video games. Bring it back. I like that answer. Chris, you were already retired by the time the mid-90s rolled around. So I'll be interested to hear what you have to say about your answer here.
Well, listen, this took me down a rabbit hole. I'll kid you not. So it's going to be hard for me to pick one specific thing. I will say that I do agree with Jimmy, except like give me those handheld Tiger Electronics games, right? Don't give me the one I have to put a cartridge in. Give me that handheld I could take with me, put it in my backpack and take it wherever I wanted to go. But I think what I want is something that technically, Rod, I never left. I started wearing them in the 90s and I haven't stopped. Those are cargo pants.
Nice. Cargo pants. Listen, you know that I'm a cargo pant enthusiast. I as well did not let them die. I continued to wear them myself. Basically, when cargo pants came around, I gave up jeans. Someone asked me the other day the last time I wore jeans. I could not even think about it. We're at almost 2 decades at this point since I've probably put a pair of jeans on. So that is my answer. I would like to bring back jeans, and apparently they're coming back. The big, like, huge jean coat, baggy jeans, these are apparently coming back. So if big baggy jeans are now coming back, I guess I am back in on jeans. So my answer from the mid-90s that I wish we could resurrect is big baggy jeans, which apparently has been resurrected. So I don't know if that makes me right or wrong. Williams, your answer for what you would resurrect from the early mid-90s.
Wait a second though, Rod. I gotta ask, Rod. Are you wearing overalls?
No, I had one pair of overalls and it did not work. It just did not work as hard as I wanted it to. It just didn't happen. There were actual, like, farmers, you know what I mean, that went to our school. We had a big FFA program. Shout out to those guys at Plymouth. You know, they actually had overalls on, and then, like, there wasn't enough people who were trying to do the street overalls because we didn't really have that element in Plymouth. So yeah, no, overalls were never my thing. Williams, your answer. What are you resurrecting?
Yeah, I've got one that kind of leads into another thing, but I just fun teen shows, and more specifically, Saved by the Bell. I miss some good old Saved by the Bell. All right, I miss the summer episodes when they all got the summer jobs at the summer resort. Leah Remini in there as Zach's girlfriend. I miss
Stacey Carosi.
Yeah. I miss Slater calling Zach Preppy every other episode. Saturday morning appointment viewing for me was Saved by the Bell, and that also leads into just appointment viewing, like in the late '90s. Like, we all gathered around the TV to watch Seinfeld. Late '90s, we all gathered around. Some of us at late teenage years gathered around and watched some Dawson's Creek at Ball State. Jimmy, don't say that you didn't. Okay,
listen, Dawson's. Yeah, let's go.
And then you know that transition into maybe the best all time show of gathering appointment viewing, and that was The Sopranos. So you just don't get that anymore. I feel like with all the streaming and everything's on 17 different streaming services, we don't all gather around to watch a certain show anymore, and I miss that fad.
You know what's funny about that? Go ahead, Chris.
Wait,
I'm sorry.
Rod, for the first time ever, I am happy that I was friends with you and not Jimmy in Ball State, because our appointment viewing was wrestling, not Dawson's Creek.
Well, that's a wrestling.
I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Whoa, old man. You calm down. All right. Listen, I tape traded at Ball State, okay? Wrestling, of course I watch wrestling at Ball State. Dawson's Creek, yeah, watch it, no question. 90210, let's go. But dare you, first of all?
Chris throwing Wu under the bus. He doesn't even know it. He's throwing Wu under the. Wu was the biggest Dawson's Creek fan.
Well, listen, I got to come clean. Chris, what's funny about that? Chris, I was there. All right, we're talking freshman dormitory. All right, I would journey over to the boys' room and watch Dawson's Creek with them. So, Chris, I got to admit, I was actually there.
I'm so angry at you right now, Chris. You know what? I'm glad the trade happened.
There we go. See, this is what the cold open question is designed for. Get us warmed up, get us angry at one another. And the only thing I want to say, Williams, I love your call about appointment viewing. It's what I love about wrestling, which we will get to, right? You kind of need to be watching wrestling Monday nights and Friday nights if you want to be keeping up on what's happening there. So I dig that. But the thing I missed the most about appointment viewing was you knew you could then talk to somebody about it the next day, right? It's so weird now when you want to try to talk to somebody about a show, you got to be like, have you seen this? Have you seen that? Have you seen this, right? You got to tick through 4 or 5 shows before you can even get to something that somebody else has seen, so then you can even talk about it. So I love appointment viewing. I love big baggy jeans. My call. Jimmy Jam, I love your call of physical media. And Chris, I've already forgotten what your call was, so clearly I wasn't that impressed with it. What did you say?
I said cargo pants.
Cargo
and
pants.
I had a side bet with myself that you were going to say hypercolor T-shirts, Rod.
Nice.
That was on my list. That was on my list.
I had one of those. You know I did. But Jimmy mentioned it there. A mega trade went down in the National Football League. Trades are so weird in the NFL, right? Like in the NBA, which me, Jimmy, and Chris are happy to talk about and excited to do again here in a couple of weeks, maybe a month and a half. We'll see when we get back to it. But there's always big time names involved, multiple picks, things like that in the NFL don't generally happen. But today we had a player get traded for another player and a couple of multiple draft picks, and I still don't think it was enough. Williams, break the trade down for us. Give us your initial thoughts.
Well, I mean, I said this last week. I can't believe Jerry did this. If I was a Cowboys fan, I would be irate. He can't be the GM next year. I think this is too much. He's 30 years now of incompetence. And I know, Chris, you want to say that they have made the playoffs. Well, they're America's team. There's 3 teams in professional sports that hold themselves higher than everybody else. And it's the Lakers, the Yankees, and the Cowboys. Everyone hates the Lakers and the Yankees. Everyone used to hate the Cowboys. Now it's just everyone is sad for the Cowboys because they're irrelevant because of Jerry Jones. And Jerry Jones needs to get out of there as soon as possible, or else the Cowboys are never going to be good while he's still there. I mean, he totally dropped the bag here. All you had to do is have the agent in the room with Micah, and it would have been fine. And Jerry thinks that he can do everything from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and it's just not like that anymore. And so he totally dropped the ball here. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Jimmy Jam, do you have the what are the exact parameters of the trade here today between the Packers and the Cowboys? Do you have that handy there, Jimmy Jam?
Yeah, first of all, Jerry Jones is the president of America's team, and he can do whatever he wants. Remember that, Williams.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Two first round picks, and the defensive lineman, which I just forgot. Kenny Clark. So, which actually is a good player from what I've seen for the Packers. I'm going to summarize a tweet by the great Dave Portnoy. Quickest ending to the Bears season ever. Thanks, Cowboys. Really appreciate that. You know, we can't have nice things. Am I bitter? Yes. Am I jealous? Yes. Okay. Am I worried as hell? Yes. Why? Because we had a shot. And now our Packers go get the best defensive player ever. Great, fantastic. We're screwed, Williams.
Listen, I love that rant. I love that tweet. But the great Dave Portnoy, that's going to be the official.
One bite, everyone knows the rules. The great pizza reviewer. Whatever.
The great Dave Portnoy. I'm not so sure that I back that up. Jimmy's views on Dave Portnoy are his own and do not reflect Mr. Morgan of the Morgan Podcasting Network. Chris, we've heard from a Bears fan. We've heard from Williams, the overall NFL handicapper / Bears fan. What does a Cowboys fan have to say about this day?
Yeah, you're not happy, right? Micah is definitely, I mean, listen, he's not the Joker of the NFL like Williams tried to portray him earlier this year on a previous podcast, but like he was definitely the biggest impact player we had on defense by far. So yeah, it's not fun. It's not happy, right? I'm still a Cowboys fan. I'm still going to root for the team that we have out in the field. I can't control what rich billionaires want to do. And yeah, he's not a good general manager. I don't know if I ever thought he was or claimed him to be. I do think, though, you can't call him a bad owner when he took a $150 million investment and turned it into a $10 billion franchise, right? Like, he knows what he's doing for the most part, and we are relevant. Look how much people are talking about the Cowboys. We're on Netflix. We're on every single sports talk podcast or radio show or TV show every single year, almost every single week. So it's just, you guys say you feel sad for the Cowboys. You guys just hate us. And that's fine because we're relevant and we try to win every single year. And that's what we're going to keep doing every single year.
Sure, Mr. Relevancy, your owner just wanted to compare the Micah Parsons trade to the Herschel Walker trade, and they got 2 picks and a player for Parsons. The Herschel Walker trade, people forget, they got 5 players and first, second, 6th-round picks in 1990, 91, 92. They got like 13 things for Herschel Walker. They got 3 for Micah Parsons. So let's calm down there, Jerry.
What step is bargaining on the grieving process? Because we just heard some serious bargaining from our guy Chris there. Also, I kind of think there was a veiled shot at me saying that he's still going to be a fan no matter what happens. I still feel like that's a little bit of saltiness from him last week about me admitting that the Bears have moved to number 1 and the Colts have moved down to number 2. But that's our guy
He's
Chris.
so angry at you.
Always giving me shots. That's why it's a good pod. You should be listening week to week. Follow, like, subscribe, comment, do all those things that help us out. Williams, I am angry about this trade, all right? I'm angry because I was going to pick the Packers to make it to the Super Bowl representing the NFC anyway. And now everybody's going to be jumping on this Packers bandwagon.
Sure you were.
The one thing that see, thank you, Jimmy. You've already proved my point. The one thing that they needed was a good pass rusher. And they went out there and they got the Joker. And Williams, I'm going to back you up here. Chris is really trying to do the trick that they do in the NBA so much. Let me kick a guy a little bit on his way out. So Chris is trying to downplay how good Micah Parsons is. That dude is an absolute menace. There's nobody in football that gets after the passer the way that that guy does. There's nobody in football that changes a defense the way that he does. This Packers team is scary. Tell us about what you think of Green Bay now adding this sick defensive end / linebacker / pass rusher. Doesn't matter. He's Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Joker, he plays offense and defense, so it's tough to compare anybody with him. But all I was saying was that with him, the Cowboys were the number one defense per EPA, and without him, they are the second worst with him or without him. So that's just a huge, huge deal, and he makes everybody better on the defensive front. And yeah, the Packers get a huge upgrade. They needed it with the front seven. That's interesting that you had them going to the Super Bowl. I think I had them before this trade finishing last in the division, but that doesn't mean that I didn't think that they were going to be a good team. I think that division is the toughest division in football. So yeah, I mean the Packers are they're swinging, they're going for it. It's going to be a fantastic NFC North this year with those four teams.
Jimmy Jim, you know what else I liked about the Packers is that we didn't hear anything about the Packers, right? There was nothing coming out of Packers camp, right? There was no stories being leaked, right? There was no Jordan Love's not looking good. The receivers are fighting.
Jordan Love's angry.
Yeah, there was none of that was coming out of Packers camp. They were just quiet, going about their business, bringing in a guy like Matthew Golden who's going to add to the passing game, right? Young players already on that team improving. Jordan Love talking about being fully healthy. As many questions as I have about Jordan Love still, Jimmy, I was fired up about things up in Packers land. So your new Bears offensive line, is that what has you worried here? Like how do you think the Bears are going to be able to respond to this?
Well, the good news is they have a terrific left tackle on their team. Crap, they don't. That's big trouble. That the one spot that really needs help is the left tackle position. They still, I don't think, have named the starter, even though it's going to be the same guy that they don't really want. I'm very nervous about that. That is the one big, besides the development of Caleb Williams, that's the biggest thing is the offensive line, and the Packers just got something that neutralizes even the best of offensive line.
So, I mean, are you tempering your Bears expectations now, Jimmy? Did you think division championship for your Bears before? Like, where are we at now? Like, break it down for us.
I had the Bears at 2 in the division. I believe. I think I had them in that 8 to 10 win range. I need to look at my final thoughts after this, but I still think they're going to be around there. The Parsons trade gets them maybe 2 wins though. That's the issue, and I really hate it, Rod.
Yeah, I understand. Chris, all right. Is there Ewing theory at play here, Chris? I know you're a bit of a Bill Simmons guy. I mean, is there any scenario here where the Cowboys all rally around and they say, you know what, man, screw this narrative that's out there. We're the Cowboys. There's a star on our damn helmets. We're going to get it done. Like, what do you think, Chris?
Yeah, listen, we still have a pretty potent offense, and in the NFL, that can get you a lot of things. And I think our defense can still be better than second last, whatever stat Williams was throwing out there with his next-gen type stuff. But I think listen, if you are an NFL player on any NFL team and you don't believe that you belong there and you can win every single Sunday you go out there, then you shouldn't be playing. And I think Cowboys have a full locker room of guys like that. So, yeah, bring it on.
Look out. The Cowboys are just lunch pail dudes, just bringing their lunch to work, putting the hard hat on, just strapping it on, Williams. I mean, they're just hard working down there in Dallas, right? They're like the Detroit Pistons down there in Dallas. Not glamorous at all. We just go to our work, man. Come on. What is Chris talking about?
Man, I hate this trade also because this ruins one of my bold takes for next pod when we do our wins league draft, and then we each got a couple bold takes. I was going to have a bold take, and now it's probably not even bold. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to wait till next week on that.
Nice. You got some time to cook up a new one in the lab. Let's get to the NFC West here. We have the Arizona Cardinals, who are always a little bit of feast or famine, right? We have the Seattle Seahawks, who have one Sam Darnold at quarterback on their team now. We have Williams' favorite, the Messiah himself, the man who the tree starts with, Kyle Shanahan, on the San Francisco 49ers. People are expecting big things from them. NFC West. I just forgot about a team. Who else is out in the NFC West that I'm forgetting about?
Seattle.
Right.
No,
No,
Rams. The Rams.
Rams.
Matt Stafford's getting epidurals like he's giving birth. It doesn't sound great for him right now out there in Los Angeles. Williams, what do you got for us on the NFC West?
Yeah, so it's been pretty much clear on when we've started. We usually start with the team who we all think, or who most of us think that is going to finish last. I don't know who's going to finish last in this division. I think this is the most competitive division in football. Let's start with Arizona, though. Over 8.5, minus 140, under 8.5, plus 115 on DK. They have the 11th easiest schedule going into the season, including 5 of the first 6 games where they are favored, so they need to get out to an early start.
But that's typical Cardinals, is it not? I mean, they're going to be 5-1 probably, right? We're all going to be excited about them. And then, Chris, I need to go to you on this real quick before Williams continues with actual football stuff. Is there a new Call of Duty coming out?
Yes.
Is there another
Black Ops
shooter?
7?
All right, okay.
It's coming out this fall, so yes, there is another Black Ops. and if you guys remember last year, there was also a Black Ops that came out, and I believe that was like week 8 or 9. His stats did dip a little bit, and Arizona did falter down the stretch a little bit more after that game came out.
All right, so there we go, Williams. You got to factor that in with the rest of your take about the Cardinals, knowing that there's a new Call of Duty coming out. Continue.
Yeah, I mean, they did face a really tough schedule of passing defenses last year. Offensive coordinator Drew Petzing did a good job with the running schemes, but did not do a good job of using Marvin Harrison Jr. last year in the passing game.
Who looks like a wrestler now. He's bulked up. What do we think that's going to do for him? Anything?
Yeah, I think he did that to try to get off a man press coverage. But I think that really wasn't the issue. To clarify, like on a minimum of 70 routes run, he was the only wide receiver to run a go route on more than 25% of his routes. So I'm asking Petzing, did he watch any Ohio State film from 2023? Because that's not what Marvin Harrison Jr. was all about. He's super technical like his dad. So why do you have him running a bunch of go routes? Yeah, I mean, I have faith in Petzing's running schemes because they are pretty good, but the passing schemes, it was super vanilla. So you got Kyler's rookie year, he averaged over 9 fantasy points per game via the rush. His last 3 seasons, though, that rushing production has been almost cut in half to around 5 fantasy points per game. So still good, but it's obvious they want him to run less to stay away from the injuries. And Marvin Harrison Jr.'s most successful route that he ran last year was the dig route, 87% success rate on that route. He's really, really good at running across the field and snapping back in the middle of the field to the quarterback. Only problem is that Kyler is too small to see over the line to complete that particular pass with any consistency. Kyler has not been good throwing over the middle of the field unless it's been to Trey McBride. But even Trey McBride only had 2 touchdowns last year. I think one of them was rushing. So even he could not find the end zone. So there's obviously something there, and you would guess that it's just the height thing with Kyler and passing over the middle. Like I said, the running game has James Conner. He posted back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons.
Shout out. Everybody counted him out. James Conner getting it done for his fantasy owners.
Yeah.
I was one of them. Can you tell?
A big problem, though, for Zona last year was their third down D. It was the 5th worst in the league. So what did GM Monty Ossenfort go out and do? And by the way, I know you guys were all wondering why Monty Python where he came from. Actually, fun fact, in 16 of his 21 years in the NFL, the teams that he had been associated with have made the playoffs. So most of that was with the Pats and the Titans.
Do you think that dude walks around the stadium exclusively with the silly walk? That's a joke for the real old heads out there, right there.
Yes, I knew Rod would love Monty. He signed edge rusher Josh Sweat. They got big defensive tackle Calais Campbell to come back. They signed another defensive tackle in Dalvin Tomlinson, and then they went out in the draft and tripled down on that position, drafting A&M and Ole Miss defensive tackle Walter Nolan. So they really want to improve the rushing defense this year.
Let's go.
I think they should be able to do that. But
let's go. Why not? In on Arizona. Why not? Jimmy, do you have any Cardinals thoughts, or should we move on?
Let's move on. They're going to be 9-8, 8-9, like they always are. That's what's going to happen.
Chris has already dropped supreme knowledge about the Cardinals with this Call of Duty stuff, so we don't need to go to him on the Cardinals. Let's move along to the team in Los Angeles that might have the 5th best quarterback in the league, according to some polls, or he might not play because his back is out, and we're going to see Jimmy Garoppolo. That's the Rams. Williams, what do you got?
Yeah, over 9.5, minus 145, under 9.5, plus 120 on DK. So people still think that Stafford's going to be healthy for most of this year. They think they're going to go over 9.5 wins. So out is Cooper Kupp, in is Devontae Adams. It's a super concentrated offense with Puka Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams. But Kyron's efficiency was not that good last year. His volume is elite, though. So if you draft him in fantasy, you're banking on the volume.
How many carries did he get last year, Williams? How many carries? Do you have that? How many touches he had last year? Do you have that handy by chance? Because don't they say there's like, and what's the rule? Like 350, right? Something like that, 320? Is there like a rule like that?
Yeah, so this is kind of a branch off of that stat. The Rams gave Kyron 75% of their snaps in 94% of their games. No other team in the league was higher than 65%, and that was Cincy with Chase Brown. And who coaches Cincy? Zach Taylor. Who does Zach Taylor come up coaching under? Sean McVay. So they have similar thoughts and concepts with how they use their workhorse running backs. They really pound them into the ground, man.
I'd be scared. I'd be scared of Kyron if I was a fantasy owner this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. Also in the passing game, Demarcus Robinson's no longer a Ram. He had 12 end zone targets last year. Those departed targets have to go somewhere. You have to think Devontae Adams. And so Devontae Adams had 80 percentile success rate wide receiver versus man last year, and still 80 percentile success rate versus press coverage. So he's still got it in the tank. And Stafford, no pressure versus pressure. His splits are pretty wide. So that's concerning because the Rams left tackle, Alaric Jackson, had a blood clot issue in the offseason. That's something to monitor with their O-line. And remember, this O-line has been one of the most consistently healthy O-lines over the last handful of years. So if that regresses in any way, Stafford has that spinal issue. That could be real trouble for the Rams Super Bowl chances, because I don't think any of us feel too confident with Jimmy G stepping in. Although he does have Sean McVay calling the play, so who knows. Rams face the 13th toughest schedule, which is the toughest in the division. The two LA teams travel the most miles this year. The Rams second most in the league with over 34,000 miles traveled this year.
Well, Chris just got excited. You're talking travel.
They did lose Nick Caley, their pass game coordinator. He's now the OC in Houston, who coincidentally, that's who they play in week 1. That could get interesting. Their defensive front for the Rams is up and coming, though, with Jared Verse, Joby Turner, Brian Young, and Braden Fisk. Those guys had 16 sacks in 2 playoff games last year. They allowed the 4th lowest touchdown percentage in the red zone over the entire season. The Rams' defensive front 4 is super underrated. They can get after some guys. So, that's what I have for the Rams.
Well, sounds like Alaric Jackson should go spend some time with the Shaolin monks, because Victor spent some time with the Shaolin monks and his blood clots are all cleared up. So there clearly has to be some kind of connection there. Chris, I shut you out on the Cardinals. Do you have any thoughts on the LA Rams?
Bold prediction: it's going to be the year of the Stetson. They're going to skip over Jimmy G because and Stafford can't play, so they're going to go with Stetson Bennett, and it's going to be the year of the Stetson. Surprise darling of the NFL this year.
Look out, Chris, with some spice. I like it. Jimmy Jam, tell me the last time a receiver a little advanced in age made a huge impact on his 4th team.
Probably Amari Cooper, because he's been on like 8 teams and been good. No, actually, even last year he didn't do good with the Bills. So that's where I'm worried about the quarterback, obviously, but also this receiving core. You get rid of Cooper Kupp, who got older, but was also someone, when he was in, you could depend on him being where he needs to be. Devontae Adams, he does have a fire under him, which I like, but it depends who's throwing to him. Chris, by the way, excellent call on Stetson Bennett. Glad he got everything figured out he needed to get figured out.
You also forget they got Puka Nacua there, too.
Yeah, and Devontae Adams has a Taco Bell in his house. So, I mean, clearly he's got things completely figured out. So, I like the LA Rams. No, I don't really like the LA Rams. I don't like a lot of what's coming out of camp. I think that you need Matthew Stafford, but then there's also a problem with needing Matthew Stafford because it seems like he's a little broken down. You can't get great things out of 40-year-old quarterbacks. I think Tom Brady is way more of an exception to the rule than he is the new trend. So, congratulations to the Rams. Things are going to go well for you. Seattle, Williams, let's go there so then you can just get the Shanahan out of the way right there at the end, and you'll be ready to go smoke yourself a cigarette after the pod after you talk about your guy, Kyle Shanahan. So let's do Seahawks third.
Seahawks over 8.5, even money, under 8.5, minus 120 on DK. So more people think they're going to go under this 8.5. They face the 13th easiest schedule, so about middle of the road there. Interior O-line might be a problem for them. They let the OC Ryan Grubb go, which I thought was borderline mistake. They bring in OC Clint Kubiak from the Saints last year. Remember, the first 2 games for the Saints last season, they tore up the Panthers and the Cowboys. But
Clint Kubiak was the new chosen. Yeah, the new Ben Johnson.
But guys, the Panthers and Cowboys ended up being the 31st and 32nd scoring defenses in 2024. So after that, the Saints offense didn't really do much from
Became
weeks
the
3 to
Saints
week
offense.
18.
That's what they did. They became the Saints after those first 2 games.
But man, this Seahawks team, coached by Mike McDonald, they want
Defense.
to run the ball down your throat. They brought in this fullback, Robbie Oots, who is huge. He's 270 pounds, and they have A.J. Barner at tight end, who's a really good run blocker. They also drafted this maniac offensive guard, Gray Zabel, third highest vertical jump ever by an offensive guard at the combine, and he is an absolute dog. He's going to make a great pulling guard. So you can tell that the head coach, Mike McDonald, he saw how physical that Ravens running game was while he was the DC there. That's exactly the running game that he wants to establish in Seattle. So Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet are going to get a ton of opportunities this season in the Great Northwest. But the big question with downgrades at OC and probably at quarterback, can Darnold find lightning in a bottle 2 years in a row, this time without KOC in Minnesota? I mean, I have my doubts. So in Kubiak's case here, he's going from a Saints O-line who was average to a Seahawks O-line who many project to be below average. Darnold needs play action to thrive. Will he have enough time for a multitude of play action plays in Seattle behind that O-line? He goes from indoors to outdoors, from Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison to Jackson Smith and Jigba and the ghost of Cooper Kupp. So I expect his overall volume numbers to dip this season in Seattle. But I think they're going to run the hell out of the ball here. Yeah, O-O-T-E-S.
Well, see,
O-U.
Is it O-U?
O-U-Z-T-S, yeah.
Is
That's
it?
fine. So it's
Okay,
not.
I wrote
It's
that
not.
down wrong.
It's not UTZ.
Is Q in there anywhere?
Oots.
Yeah.
What
Possibly
are we gonna
he was,
walkie-talkie?
I
That would be
wondered if
something.
that's
I think people are really down on Darnold for no real reason. He had a couple bad games at the end of the season, but that's not the whole entire season. He had a really good season there. But it comes down to Sky Kenny Walker, everyone's favorite running back for the Seahawks there. He's going to look amazing and then be out for 4 weeks, look amazing on 3 carries, be out for the next 6. And at some point, you got to give to Charbonnet and see what happens. He's a really good player, and I can't, this whole division with injuries really is, if you go down the list, I just don't know what to do with this team either, and I don't think that the running game is going to be able to sustain and help the passing game out. So yeah, they're going to be about defense because they're going to be on the field a lot.
Yeah, listen, if your team is going to carry 2 fullbacks on its roster, they mean business with running the football. So they're going to be pounding it. They're going to come and try to punch you in the face. I would not want to play in Seattle this year at all.
Yeah, San Fran over 10.5 plus 105, under 10.5 minus 125. So more people think they're going to go under 10.5 here. But if you guys noticed, all 4 teams in between 8.5 and 10.5. So not only, it's not just me who thinks this division is going to be super competitive, it's also Vegas. They bring back Robert Saleh as DC. He was a terrible head coach, but a pretty damn good defensive coordinator.
Goodness great.
The reason why I'm in on San Francisco this year is they played the easiest schedule in the league by a mile. And remember last year, the Niners had the worst net rest disadvantage in the league. And for that reason, I was out on San Fran last year. They ended up going 6-11. You guys all thought I was crazy to turn my back on San Francisco. I just didn't like the net rest disadvantage. I am in on them this year because of that schedule of how easy it is. Projected to score at a top 10 rate. And Run CMC, he saw only 65 touches last year, so he should be fresh. And in 2023, he led the league in touches. And to recover from the tendonitis he had last year, he changed his workout regimen this summer, went with more sprinting, says he feels great headed into the season. And this is another guy who I think you're going to get tremendous value on in drafts because he could go at the end of the first round, maybe early second round. And he has the potential to be the number 1 running back scoring wise with this schedule and with this offense. So it's not out of the question that he could end up being that way. I mean, he burned some people last year with the injury news coming out late. He is 29 years old, but yeah, I think with that schedule, he's going to score some points. Ayuk is going to start on the PUP list for at least the first 4 weeks. Juwan Jennings had some injury issues. Jimmy touched on some of the injury stuff is kind of crazy. Ricky Pearsall, I mean, for Christ's sakes, got shot last year. But he runs in the 4.3s, probably the most likely to get the Debo touches in the offense as Debo is in DC now. But one question mark with this team is they did lose a lot defensively. They lost linebacker Dre Greenlaw. They lost Talanoa Hufunga at safety. Thank you very much. And they lost Charvarius Ward at corner. So they used like their top 4 or 5 picks in the draft all on defense. So they knew that they had to revamp that defense. And one last thing with CMC, the Niners' record with CMC is 23-8 since he came over from Carolina. Without him, the Niners are only 8-12. So he's got to stay healthy. There's already running back injuries behind him in San Francisco. That's why they just traded for Brian Robinson. So can San Francisco stay healthy? That seems like to be the question every year with these guys. So I'm in on them. I don't think they're going to go like 15-2 or anything because I think they lost too much on that defense. But I still think with the uncertainty of Stafford's back that this team can win the division. But I think any one of these 4 teams can win the division, honestly. So I'll give the slight nod to San Francisco, though.
So the Niners traded for Brian Robinson Jr., right, from the Commanders. He's now going to be in their backfield behind CMC.
Correct, along with Isaac Guerrero. Isaac Guerrero is hurt already now, too, though.
But didn't Brian Robinson, correct me if I'm wrong here, but didn't Brian Robinson also get shot? Don't the Niners have 2 dudes on their team who have been shot and recovered and are playing football for them?
That's correct.
See, this is what you come to me for, right? Williams gives you the football stats and the breakdowns and all that stuff. And I remember that Brian Robinson and Ricky Pearsall each have been shot and have recovered and are playing football. Shout out to those guys. That's great, man. Because I think each of them was attempted robbery, if I'm not mistaken. They both were getting jacked and got shot and then came back. So tough guys out there, man. The Niners. Williams, come on. You think better things for the Niners than that. You're being tempered, and I'm really sick of this tempered because you're mad, or you're not mad. You're holding your cards close to the vest because next week, ladies and gentlemen, next week, this is why Williams has been giving you just little nuggets. He doesn't want to give away anything for the wins draft that is coming next week.
I got a few surprises up my sleeve, but I am way less confident this year than I was last year. I have more fantasy takes than overall like team takes. I think this year is going to be so even. So it's going to be a super competitive wins league draft, I think, on Tuesday night.
Well, have you had your fantasy draft yet?
You hear he's been saying this. He's been saying this for weeks now. This is a real competitive division. This is a real competitive division. This might be the most competitive division in football. He has said that so many times over the past few weeks, trying not to give anything away this year. Like he's doing it on purpose. He's holding out.
He definitely is. Williams, have you had your fantasy draft yet? Because I know that you also don't like to give away a lot of your fantasy takes because all the guys that you draft with listen to this pod. Shout out to them, Corey Nance and crew.
Ours is tomorrow. I have been in a slow draft FFPC draft where the winner gets $1 million. So who knows, guys? I could hopefully at the end of the year, we'll have a big Morgan party after I take down the FFPC championship. But yeah, ours.
I'd just like you to renew the Riverside subscription. That'd be great.
Yes. The season long draft though with Nance and the boys is tomorrow night. So Friday night. So,
all right, so then next
we're gonna.
So you're real friends.
Yeah.
Next week, then you're going to have some great fantasy takes for us because your draft will be done and you won't be giving anything away to those guys. Next week, you'll have the real predictions for everybody because we'll have the wins draft done. So next week is going to be a huge show. You thought this week was great with a little 90s talk at the beginning and then a big Michael Parsons trade. Next week, you're going to get all of our predictions, division winners, Super Bowl. We're going to get those on paper. We're going to do the wins draft. We're going to have a couple of hot takes. And Williams is going to have week 1 picks for you. That'll be actually like an afterthought right at the end just to get week 1 started. But Williams is going to have picks for you. We're going to have the wins draft. We're going to have predictions. Jimmy, next week's going to be a huge football show. Everybody should tune in, right?
It's going to be fantastic. Tune in live because you never know what we're going to say.
And Chris, everybody should keep listening here after you do your wonderful sign-off because me, you, and Jimmy are going to talk some wrestling.
Let us talk to you. Like, comment, subscribe. Goodbye, Internet.
See football, yeah. Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Know's podcasting network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Rod, and Chris. Chris, I need an old man take from you.
I feel like I'm going to be beating a dead horse. Like, there is not much out there that's going to give me more joy than watching LA Knight beat the absolute pants off of Phil this coming weekend. Nothing can bring me more joy. And the way what really gets under my skin is the turncoat behavior of our co-host Rod and his turning into a Phil fan, all because he started watching a documentary that the WWE has put out there. It's just despicable. I can't wait. Can't wait for Saturday.
for those of you listening for the first time, thank you very much. We really appreciate that. Phil is CM Punk. Chris has, well, let's see, very no morals, low standards, and doesn't refer to someone as their character name. But Rod, on the other hand, who, let's be honest, Chris, coined the term Phil on the podcast, has turned over a new leaf, if you will, and is a big CM Punk fan now. And Rod, do you want to see CM Punk actually win the title?
Oh, Jimmy Jam, first off, let me say, exciting here to be talking wrestling. Loved hearing the old school intro there. That got me fired up right there with the Roman Reigns at the beginning and the guitars and the little drums there. I was all fired up. You said old man take, and he said beating a dead horse in turncoat. We are off to a rip-roaring start here on the podcast. And yes, I have grown respect for CM Punk. Chris, I appreciate the art of professional wrestling. I enjoy those that can tell stories. I enjoy those that can cut promos. I enjoy those that get over with the fans. I enjoy those that can wrestle a match that makes me feel something. And darn it, when I get over my hatred for CM Punk, I realize this man may very well be what he comports himself to be, one of the best in the world. He can tell a story in his matches, Chris, like no other. If you honestly take yourself away from your hatred for him and think of some of the matches you've seen him participate in and how much better those matches are than so many other matches we preview and then talk about on this podcast, like, we just have to be real about it. CM Punk is very, very, very good at professional wrestling.
If we have to be real about it, we're just going to be real about how Rod seems to just not only on this podcast, but every other podcast, just go ahead and throw away his fandom from one franchise or one individual and just jump on to the next big thing. I don't like the Colts. I'm going to be a Bears. Oh, the Packers get a new guy. They're going to win the Super Bowl. I watched this documentary. I'm going to be a Phil fan now. I have to respect what he does in the ring, so I'm going to be a fan of his. When he has been a Rollins fanatic since as long as I've been a part of this podcast, and now all of a sudden, his guy's biggest rival is now he's also a fan. It's despicable to me.
Chris, this is Rod. When CM Punk and Seth Rollins eventually go one-on-one for the championship, do you foresee Rod wearing like a CM Punk hat and a Rollins shirt?
We may even see a Pepsi tattoo on his shoulder. It'll be temporary, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Pepsi tattoo on his shoulder.
Oh, Rod, where's that Pepsi tattoo? And by the way, since you said that, Chris, he's going to do it now.
Listen, okay, I can exist in multitudes, all right? I can have two sides to my wrestling fandom, okay? I can be a fan of the business. I can be a fan of fantasy booking. I can be a fan of texting Jimmy, was that real? Was that not real? Who's this person? Is their contract up? I can be a fan of all of that stuff. And then I can act like you, Chris, and just blindly follow someone and buy into everything that they do and not like anyone who ever comes in contact with them the way that you treat Drew McIntyre and LA Knight. I can do that with Seth Rollins while at the same time respecting the entire overall business and those that participate in it. I believe I can exist in multitudes, and I would appreciate you not trying to box me in and tell me what I can and can't be as far as wrestling goes, Chris.
Fan of Pipe Bomb Phil.
And that right there is just like the biggest insult Chris could think to say right there, and I love it. I love every second of it. So we're going to talk about Clash in Paris here in a few minutes, but I do want to talk about the first premium live event not on Peacock that will go to ESPN. WrestlePalooza.
Stupid name.
Is on September 20th. Now, the only reason the WWE is having this premium live event is because AEW has a big premium live event or pay-per-view that same night. That's the only reason they're doing it. The only reason it's in Indianapolis is because I think they're in Dayton on Friday for SmackDown or somewhere close. So the kids and I, we're not quite, 20 minutes away from the stadium as we were before, but it's something that I asked the kids, do you want to go to WrestlePalooza and see Cena and Lesnar, or do you want to go to the Colts-Titans game in Nashville? And they both said, Izzy just said, we are going to the wrestling event. I said, all right, well, if I can get tickets, we'll go. So I did the pre-thing and all that. Great. And I go on and, these tickets in the 200 section are going to be about $500 a piece. Okay, well, let's see what the nosebleed section is, $50, $60. For 3 people to sit in basically the last row of the 200 section is $583.05.
Ooh.
TKO did exactly what they did with UFC. They're getting bigger gates because they're charging more. Now, here's the thing, guys. People pay it, and it'll sell out, and it stinks because we are going to the Colts-Titans game. I can't justify to myself $583 to go watch this premium live event, Rod.
Jimmy, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I as well.
Royal Rumble, yes. Royal Rumble, yes.
Sure, the Royal Rumble was a one-time event. WrestleMania is going to come to Indianapolis.
Yes.
I'll probably pay an ungodly amount to go to that because it's WrestleMania. I might even pay an ungodly amount when SummerSlam comes to Indianapolis because it's the biggest party of the summer. But you're right. We went to Fastlane, Jimmy. You and I were both there, right? That was a random,
great time.
Was just a random PLE that they had in Indianapolis in the same building. Am I right? They're not having this at Lucas, are they?
Yeah. No. This is whatever.
Yeah, Cambridge.
Cambridge.
Yeah, okay. So you and I have seen a premium live event there. Great time. We did not pay that much to sit way lower for Fastlane when we were there than what you're going to be paying for up in the nosebleed. So I absolutely do not blame you there. And the other thing I want to mention here, Jimmy, let's also talk about WrestlePalooza, stupid name, and the fact that it's going to air on ESPN. Here's the thing. You and I are YouTube TV subscribers. We cannot get ESPN, the app, for free because of a carriage deal with YouTube, and ESPN does not exist vis-a-vis that. Other folks that have ESPN on their cable can type in their cable provider and get ESPN for free, and then they'll be able to premium live event. I am now faced with a decision of, am I going to shell out $40 to pay for ESPN, even though I get ESPN on my TV, and even though I already have Hulu and Disney Plus? That is the thing that I'm going to now be faced with, just to be able to watch WrestlePalooza, the stupidest named premium live event in the history of WWE.
So, Chris, this goes back to, we don't want cable, we want our own choices, and now we all want cable again. What are your thoughts on prices and where this is going?
I don't know. It's always in ebbs and flows, right? Go back 20 years. It was pay-per-view every single month. You were forking out $60, $70.
But I wasn't though. That's
okay,
the thing.
Right. I'm not. I know. I'm just saying
that
was the model that everyone lived with, and you could decide on it, right? Then was a revolution where we got away from that type of model to watch our TV, and so you got streaming services, and they started bidding on these live type sporting events, and that's when we got Peacock shelling out money, getting these PLEs, right? And maybe we got spoiled, but I think it's just ebbing back the other direction. They see that people are willing to spend more on streaming services to get more access to certain things. So, and these companies are also paying more for the rights to broadcast these events as well. So everyone's looking then to make more money, and you have to keep the business growing, so it's going to go ebbs and flows. And then there'll be a pushback by consumers again, and we're going to stop paying the $30, $40 a month just to get ESPN to watch those, and they'll have to do something different.
Yeah, I think right now with Hulu Live TV, you can get it for free, but then my NFL Sunday Ticket is through YouTube TV, so maybe next year we change and go to something else if YouTube TV isn't there, because NFL Sunday Ticket will be through ESPN, I'm assuming.
Maybe.
Check out Fubo.
Maybe.
I think Fubo's the way to go, especially if you want to watch Cubs games. Just saying.
Also, the ESPN deal has to be confirmed by the president, all right? I'm just being real with everybody. This is not the podcast for to talk that, but it just has to be cleared by the president, and we've seen recently how those things have gotten sticky, so nothing is a given at all with this.
Well, there will be a gold WWE championship belt with a face on it for sure in the future. Don't worry about that. So one more big piece of news that came out before we talk about Clash in Paris. Chris Jericho looks like Mount Rushmore. Chris Jericho, looks like he might be a free agent at the end of the year, and I'm just interested because Chris Jericho was just coming on in the WWE when you were watching. One of the biggest. Go ahead.
I remember Y2.
Yeah, one of the biggest debuts in the history of the company.
The Rock.
And then, of course, Yes, and of course, then they just said, "Oh yeah, he's a WCW guy. We're not going to do anything for him." And then obviously he came back and had some huge feuds, including with CM Punk, by the way, and Kevin Owens. It's going to be a shock to the people who've been listening to the show since the beginning. I'm pretty excited to have Jericho back in the WWE if that's a possibility. He went to AEW. AEW would not be there without him right now. He was the inaugural champion. He gave them a little bit of credence, and I would love to see him do another step in his career and come in and end the Royal Rumble that's in Saudi Arabia. I would love to see that happen. I just think it would be terrific, Rod.
Jimmy, I could not agree with you more. Bring me Chris Jericho cutting promos. Bring me Chris Jericho wrestling once every 3 months, but still being involved on TV. You know what I mean? Like, I absolutely want that. There's room for people who can talk in wrestling still to this day, and I'm not sure that there's anybody that cuts a better promo than, say, a handful of people than Y2J. So I'm all for it. Let's bring him back. We got a bunch of advanced in age dudes at the top of the card anyway. Why not one more?
Why
Let's
not?
go.
Chris, what are your thoughts on Jericho coming in?
Yeah, I like nostalgia, right? I was never a big Jericho
You just
fan
made the
to
list.
begin with, to be honest. Yeah, right. But like that's the thing. I didn't watch wrestling during that period of time, but I sure as hell understand that joke, right? I get like that was a big enough cultural reference and that it got into the zeitgeist. So like people know you made the list as a Chris Jericho thing. So he's vastly important to wrestling. So you'd be excited, but I definitely think I would. Don't know if I need to see him wrestling necessarily.
One of the coolest entrances I'd seen in a long time is in AEW. Chris Jericho, I believe, was going against MJF, and the stipulation was they couldn't play Jericho's music because the fans would sing along with his music, the Judas song. So he just walks out with no music, and the entire arena starts and erupts in his song, and they go through the whole song. Very good melodic, continuity between the 20,000 people there, and just fantastic. So I think it would be terrific to see Jericho come back to the WWE.
Melodic continuity. Jimmy Jam proving his prowess once again as the Morgan Podcasting Network's preeminent musicologist.
There's two things if you want to know, you ask Jimmy. Good NFL teams and music-related questions. Finally, I want to shout out the greatest RKO out of nowhere to Drew McIntyre. Randy Orton is in his having fun stage, and having fun stage Randy Orton, Chris, is terrific.
Right? I guess the legend I'm gonna
I know you're mad. You're mad. But
I guess the legend I'm finally going to get to see Randy Orton kill is Drew McIntyre. That's what's going to happen.
Well, yeah, but Drew McIntyre killed Cody Rhodes, so I guess it's retribution because we haven't seen Cody Rhodes since Drew McIntyre kicked his head through the SmackDown desk. So
I also don't think I've seen Randy Orton win a singles match except for maybe twice.
Ouch.
Well, will we see that this weekend in Clash in Paris? Because we might see Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre facing off one-on-one. Not confirmed yet. We'll probably find out tomorrow. Do you think we're going to see it? And who you got, Rod?
I got Drew McIntyre pulverizing Randy Orton. And yes, I think we're going to see it.
I think that's going to happen too, because I think at WrestlePalooza, we're going to see Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. And I think that'll be... Listen, WrestlePalooza is going to be a terrific show. It's going to have everything you've ever wanted.
It's the stupidest name, but it's going to be a good show.
Exactly. Chris, who you got?
Drew.
I
haven't seen the Legend Killer kill anybody, like I said. But knowing my luck, it would happen to Drew. But yeah, no, Drew's going to win this.
Jimmy, shout out to
get his shot against Cody.
You said Orton's fun time. We got a shout out to, it was a little while back, but Orton comes out in a t-shirt like he doesn't normally do, and he literally taps his stomach, and you can see him mouth, "I've been eating." So Orton's definitely in his fun stage.
We learned that the Women's World Championship will not be defended, obviously, because it's vacant right now. Stephanie Vaquer just gets screwed over. She was guaranteed a shot at Paris. And the good news is we know that next week on Raw, we'll figure out what's going to happen next. So there's that. WrestlePalooza, Rhea Ripley, Stephanie Vaquer, world title. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I guess. But so what? We're just going to put those two up against? Is there going to be a tournament? Like, what are we going to do? I don't like that we're still in a nebulous region. Because to be honest with you, Jimmy, I thought what maybe we were going to see is when Naomi ran Adam Pearce out of the ring and refused to give him the belt. I was like, oh, like a couple of lights went off in my head where I was like, that'd be interesting. Because she was trying to run around saying she refused to give the belt back for a little while, and then we had to come up with some other way to get it from her, and then that person became champ, but we didn't do that either. So I'm a little perplexed by this right now.
interim champion like they do in UFC, which, by the way, I hate that. But anyway. Let's see. Here we go. Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Chris, good war of words between the two of them. Do you think it's going to translate into a good match?
Possibly. I mean, we know Becky can wrestle. I'm not sure about Nikki Bella. I didn't see her.
She'll be
in
fine.
Her prime.
She'll be fine.
Right. So yeah, it should be a fun match. I think Becky's still going to win, though.
Yeah, I think Becky has to win this match just to keep it going. Unless Nikki wants to be here more on a regular basis, then maybe go with her. But I see it's got to still be Becky,
yeah,
right?
I think she's doing wonders for the Women's Intercontinental Championship right now. She really is. So I think that you want to keep the belt on her. I think that gives it's just an easy way to have like a secondary women's main event, right? With Becky Lynch versus, you can have her going up against Bayley. That one can come around, there's numerous people that can roll up and have a good battle with her. So I dig that. And here's my thing with Nikki Bella, Jimmy. I think she could stay around even if she loses, right? Because then we have the whole, all right, I've really got to dedicate myself and the climb back up the mountain type deal. So, but Jimmy, I was a little light during the Bella's biggest run. Who was the better Bella? Was it Nikki or was it Brie?
Yeah, I know when Becky said that. I think, honestly, I think I liked Brie more, but I think Nikki probably had the whole character wrestling thing down a little bit more than, it was very close, but I think Nikki's more decorated, so Nikki?
Yeah. If she can do anything like Trish Stratus did, right, when she came back, after being on the shelf for a while, then, that'll be great because Trish put in a couple of bangers.
Trish and Lita are up here. Nikki Bella was definitely a few rungs below them at her peak, no matter what. And honestly, Lita was better than Trish back then as well, for sure. Yeah, Nikki was fine. She had the whole aura around her, which was good.
Clearly, the whole thing she does when she walks out was a big deal for her, right? I mean, she still continues to do that this day, I'm sure. When she came around, it was a little more the Divas era, right?
Yeah, I just love some of those. And not just this one, but other people, they do their same gimmick, and it's like, all right, whatever. It's fine. In a good old-fashioned Donnybrook, Chris. You love Donnybrooks. Sheamus and Rusev. Who you got? And do you care? Which I don't think you do.
I mean, yeah, I got Sheamus. It's a Donnybrook, all right? He's going to bash that shillelagh right over Rusev's head a few times, and I think that'll be the end of it.
I hope that Rusev would win because I'd like them to do something with Rusev. It's kind of funny, Rod. I'll go with Rusev just to be different here. But, Rod, Sheamus is in that point of his career where it's going to be hard for him to move from the level he's at no matter what happens. If he wins a lot, I still think he's going to be just right at that intercontinental level, even though he's a former world champ, and he'll get a world championship match, but no one's going to think he's going to win. If he loses a lot, people are still going to cheer him when he does the 10 hits on the chest.
To the Bowron.
Yeah. That too. I couldn't think of what
Here's the thing, Jimmy. You're absolutely right that Sheamus is never going to be able to hoist the world title ever again, and he probably will get some random throwaway match where they're going to try to make us think that it's a big deal that he's fighting somebody on some random throwaway pay-per-view that's not SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, War Games, or WrestleMania. But I wonder if it doesn't happen. I completely lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Rusev? Was I talking about Rusev?
No, you're talking about Sheamus.
Championship. That's where I was going to go. That's the big deal with Sheamus.
He needs to win that. Yeah,
he can complete the career Grand Slam with that. So that will be
you're lovely.
His final 100% runoff there with the Intercontinental Championship. So that'll be good. But here's my thing with Rusev. I want Rusev to win as well, Jimmy. You don't have to say Rusev to be different because I was going to say Rusev no matter what you said. I'm in on Rusev. I don't know why, but I think it's because Rusev to me feels old school. We just don't have characters like Rusev anymore. And I, for one, am like, okay, I got room for an old school, I'm an oaf. I'm a mountain of a man. I'm just yelling and screaming. I just want to beat people. I don't even cut great promos. I don't have slick lines. I'm just an absolute monster, and I'm here to beat you down. That, to me, feels old school, and I kind of dig it. So let's hope that we get a little run with Rusev for a while, because it's not got long legs, but like in a nostalgia play, I dig it. Let's go. Give Rusev a win here.
I hope that happens. I really, really do. You know what else I hope happens? I hope John Cena and Logan Paul have a fun match. John Cena said that he was revitalized from the match with Cody, and we all love that match. We all thought it was a really good match, and I think Logan Paul can get a couple things out of Cena. I don't see this going very long, Chris, but I think Cena gets the Yeah, I think Cena gets the win here, Chris.
Yeah, Cena gets the win. I'm still disappointed in the whole Cena storyline. I don't know. All this has done is make this less interesting to me. Right?
So
I'm still gonna watch.
You're still mad at? Are you mad that they turned him heel, or are you mad they turned him face like how they did?
I'm not upset by the heel. I'm upset that they didn't take the heel far enough and then they switched back to the face. That's where I think they messed up because I was all in on whatever was going to happen next. Didn't care if it was a bad match or not, or no match and just an appearance. Like I was all in on the heel. Like that was something new, different, unexpected. Right? This was like them throwing in the towel. And so like I'm going to watch it, but I'm not that invested in it. What's going to happen? It's just a farewell tour to Cena, a guy I didn't really watch wrestle that much.
So I think the reason they did it, in my opinion, is they didn't know what was going next because they didn't know what they were doing now. The Rock and Travis Scott took an angle that they had and they came up with and just blew it up because they didn't want to do whatever it is they were going to do. Or they didn't want to do anything and they didn't even figure out what they were going to do yet. So you're looking at this and saying, do we continue this directionless heel turn? Do we try to come up with something new? Or do we just say, screw it, we're going to have him be a face and go on? I honestly think they made the right decision in that one because I didn't like where it was going because it made no sense, Rod.
Of course it didn't make any sense, but here, what if they actually knew what they were doing all along? Jimmy, I think there's a lot of validity to what you said about The Rock and come and go as he pleases, and there was definitely a fallout with Travis Scott. There's a lot of evidence, there's a lot of trails that lead to something fishy there. But what we've also created, Jimmy, we talk about numerous times, you and I have, and I think Chris has even been party to some of these discussions. Things that are simple get over the most in a WWE, okay? It's a simple hand gesture. It's a simple one-word phrase like yeet, right? And what we did with the John Cena heel turn and then him coming back to a face is we basically 100% stamped people are going to cheer John Cena, okay? It was always a little bit of a mixed bag because there were still enough people around that didn't like Cena. Now, literally, things go from black and white to color and the audience loses their mind. And we're not going to be able to get those great moments if we don't have the bad John Cena heel turn. So, Jimmy, I wonder if it's a little from column A and a little from column B.
Yeah, it could be. It could be for sure. Who do you got winning this one?
I got Logan Paul. I got Logan Paul winning this here because I think that That's one thing that John Cena actually is also pretty good at, is we've seen, was he re-energized Cody Rhodes. I was sick of Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes beat him, got a little bit of re-energy. Now he's got a feud with Drew McIntyre going. So we saw John Cena one time in his career try to get Austin Theory over by laying on his back in WrestleMania for Austin Theory. So I could see a scenario where John Cena in a match over in Paris lays down and Logan Paul gets a victory and then tries to talk a bunch about that for the remaining, time of WWE this year leading into other feuds he has.
Well, and we all think that he's going to be world champion one day too. So that's something to think about as well. Maybe he's the one that dethrones Cody.
That'd be interesting. I'd be for that.
Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed for the Shula Fala, which, let's be honest, that's amazing, and I love everything about the Shula Fala. I want Bronson Reed to win this. Bronson Reed needs to win this. I don't care how it happens, but he needs to pin Roman Reigns 1, 2, 3 if you want to have him go to that next level. This is not going to hurt Roman Reigns at all. I want Bronson Reed to win. So I'm cheering for him, and I'm also picking him, Chris. I took a page out of your book.
Nice. Well, I am also cheering for Bronson Reed because
but you hate Roman. So
that doesn't count.
I
was going to say, because I don't think I've ever seen a match that Roman wins without having help from his family. So without help from his family, I don't see him being able to win this match.
Rod, do you think his family will help him?
I think there's definitely a scenario that's been created where Jey Uso could come out to the ring and that would be a bit of a pop. We've seen them, Roman helped him out a little bit, right? They're clearly on good terms, so we could see that. But I think
Big Jim is busy. He can't come out.
Exactly. He's got things going on. I think we all need to take a second, all right, and go back to Roman Reigns' appearance in the ring to open Monday Night Raw, all right? That place was absolutely electric. Okay, Chris, I'm sorry, man. You can sit here all you want and play your bit up about you hate Roman Reigns. He's a part-timer. He only gets help from the family. All of that shit may be true, okay? But the biggest thing that's true in professional wrestling is when you're over with the crowd, you're over with the crowd, all right? And Roman Reigns is over like Rover, man. That guy just goes away for a while and comes back, and we all eat it up, and it's fabulous. I love Roman Reigns. He is not going to be on his back for Bronson Reed. Jimmy, you're absolutely right. Bronson Reed needs the win, and maybe the Vision gets involved and he wins somehow completely dastardly, but I do not see Roman Reigns losing to Bronson Reed. I just don't.
Roman Reigns, Chris, had an entire arena singing in unison. Stand up if you love Roman Reigns. That's not yeet. That's not yes. That's 7 words, Chris, that everyone was saying together, and it was really a cool sight.
I would have been sitting down.
I love you so much. Oh, Chris. I got nothing. And with that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More He Knows podcast network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Rod, and Roman Reigns' #1 hater, Chris.
Chris, I love that you stick to the bit.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye, net. Yeah.
Baby.